So, Dylan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe we can give you a Cliff Notes version of us so we can all, you know each other. So, where you based out of, and
Based in Los Angeles, beautiful Culver City, although probably not right now. It's a little cloudy and rainy. Um, but other than that, been acting pretty much my whole life. Uh, Went to high school for it, went to actually London for 3 years
ah,
to study acting at Lambda. Absolutely loved it. And I actually was fortunate enough to understudy not any of these parts, but Julius Baker in MISALLIANCE at A Noise Within, and was actually fortunate enough to go on.
What?
Um,
wow.
so yeah, so I've actually been fortunate enough to listen to the Percival Hypatia scene from inside a Turkish bath multiple times.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. You got a head start. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that would be a very wow, because I've understudied too. And the last one I did, I closed the run. And the nerves are
Mm.
crazy, but that first night having to sit in the Turkish bath and wait to go on
Yeah.
must have been insane.
I mean, luckily we had like a little part where he walks in and then he hides. So I kind of got nerves out a little bit, but like I'm
Right.
sitting in there and I'm just like, oh God, I have to do a scene with Peter Van Norton and I'm terrified.
PVN, he's the best.
Yeah.
We did a
Oh,
show
he's
with him.
amazing.
I think everybody know PVN? Peter?
Yeah.
That's right. Paul, you're still mostly East Coast. Yeah. Peter's definitely LA. Yeah, he played my father in Cymbeline.
Mm.
Fell madly in love with him. Uh, yeah. And do you want to introduce yourself to Dylan, Miss Michelle, if you don't know him already?
Hi, I'm Michele Schultz. I'm based in Los Angeles as well. Right now, I'm sitting in Santa Monica, live in Westwood. And I have gotten back to acting after a very long hiatus. I only got back to acting about 7 or 8 years ago. And
Mm.
then before that, it wasn't until I got my MFA, at the normal time, and then just went off to become an attorney.
Mm.
So
I
that's
know
what I
a
do
bunch
now.
of
But
actors who actually do that.
I
Love.
actually do that, and but I'm getting more and more to think of myself as an actor.
There you go. Nice. You are an actor. You're an
Thank you.
actor. Yes.
Michele,
Paul,
Michele, I don't think I've ever asked you what kind of law do you practice?
Entertainment law.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I do motion picture development and production.
So you've stayed close.
Yeah, as close as possible. Yes, I
Stayed in
guess
the
so.
building. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right.
Wow. Mm. I always noticed the trace of accent. So are you from like England originally or
The
I I
trace, the trace of accent?
I'm
I was born in New York. My parents are American. I grew up in England and then came back to the States when I was in my teens.
wow. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I didn't remember it from doing Allison and the nurse. I didn't quite remember, but then again we were trying to speak
We're
French.
doing
I was
French.
trying to speak French.
Right.
You were succeeding. Yeah, so and then Mr. Nicholas, if you'd like to say
Uh,
hello to Dylan.
I'm just the opposite, Michele. I was born in England. I was born in Croydon,
No kidding.
Really?
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
but spent most of my life away from England,
Huh.
and I've never lived there since. And I've been to visit a couple of times, but a few times, but never lived there. And
Wow.
so if you ever hear me doing a British accent, I know you didn't hear it last week, but if you ever hear me doing it, it's fake.
Got it. Got it.
I'm also a dialect coach. I do teach particularly variations of British accents.
Oh, cool.
What I can think is I'm just watching him going, where do you find the time for all of it? I admire your energy and focus.
Mhm.
Hi, Dylan. I'm Erika, and I'm based out of New York City, but I'm a proud Seattle person. And I've been here for like almost 30 years now, and worked theater, regions, off, on, broad, all that kind of stuff, way. And Shaw, the two full productions I've done of Shaw were both MISALLIANCE. And I
Mm,
played Lena Szczepanovska, and then I played
mm,
Mrs. Charlton. So,
mm,
and I just adore Shaw. So, last week we talked a lot about like just a quick catch up. We talked about what this period was like in terms of like the Edwardian period and the idea of the different classes, the upper class being like the aristocrats, the people born to the manor and that kind of thing, versus the middle class, which was slowly growing, and they were actually, if we want to talk wealth, they were actually the wealthy. The upper class really wasn't as so much, and then the majority of the population, 80%, I think, were lower class. The
mhm,
labor, just living day to day, hand to mouth. Um, and Mrs. Charlton jokes, as you may have remembered, but she basically says, "Don't ever lend the aristocracy money because they'll just keep coming back like you fed a stray puppy," you know. So it's an interesting dichotomy of class, and I've been rereading and going through this, and I'll get to this in a second because I promised to go through and see how everybody addresses Bunny Bentley.
mm,
And Johnny only calls him Bunny. But when in his front of his father, he says when I think it's Hypatia suggests they go off and play tennis, and he calls him young chap. Uh,
mm,
but I don't know that Johnny is doing it because he's aware of his father being there, because he also just had a conversation with him talking about how Bentley's kind of a disappointment. Hypatia calls him Bentley and Bunny. About a mix. Lord Summerhays calls mostly Bentley. He never says Bunny, but he does call him a baby at one point when he's scolding him.
mhm,
Um, Joey only calls him Ben, his, classmates. And I'm gonna turn on my do not disturb. And my favorite, Tarleton doesn't. I don't think I think he only refers to him with endearments like, no, good boy, and all that kind of a thing. But Mrs. Tarleton, I probably should be saving this for Nathan actually, is she calls him child and boy and refers to him as the little ones. She's very sort of infantilizing with him. She never really calls him by his name. And she refers to him at one point, our visitor. So there's still, I think, the mother thing trying to, not sure if she's approved of Bentley as a marriage. Anyway, so rereading this, and I'm going to come up with a list, and maybe I'll email you guys during the week. But so I spent a summer and a semester studying abroad. I was at Bada in Regent's Park, and one of my teachers was Jane Lapotaire, and she said to us, she said, if you're doing a Shakespeare character, if you're doing Cleopatra, you can do all the history that you want. You can do all that research if you want, but Shakespeare just gives you exactly what you need to know about her to play her. And to some degree, I mean, you can say the same. I think it is important to know the period that it's written in. I can't see, saw production photos of another production where I think he modernized it. They put it in a more of a, I don't know, 1940s, 50s. I don't know why. Um, but I think for the most part, people stick with the period that it was done in. Which personally, that's the way I would go. But it is interesting to go through and look at what other people say about you as a character, and also what you say about you. So I would encourage you to do that going forward. I would say, and I'll get more into it with Johnny and Bunny when Nathan is done with Theo duty. Um, but we're gonna go into now Hypatia and Joey. So we're just gonna throw you right into the fire, Dylan. Yeah. So why don't we? Would you like to read it first? Read it first, and then we'll go back and we'll start talking. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me get to that scene. Where did I put it? Do, 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 do. That's my hold music. Do, 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 do. Okay. So I'm gonna pop off video and let you guys just give it your best shot. And any input you have, Paul, too, just hop in there.
You got it.
Mr. Percival, Mr. Percival, where are you? Aren't you glad I've caught you?
No, I'm not. Confound it. What sort of girl are you? What sort of house is this? Must I throw all good manners to the winds?
Do. This is the house of a respectable shopkeeper, enormously rich. This is the respectable shopkeeper's daughter, tired of good manners. Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter.
No, no. Don't you know you mustn't go on like this with a perfect stranger?
Drop down from the sky. Don't you know that you must always go on like this when you get the chance? You must come to the top of the hill and chase me through the bracken. You may kiss me if you catch me.
I shall do nothing of the sort.
Yes, you will. You can't help yourself. Come along. Oh, fool, come along. Don't you want to?
No, certainly not. I should never be forgiven if I did it.
You'll never forgive yourself if you don't.
Nonsense. You're engaged to Ben. Ben's my friend. What do you take me for?
Ben's old. Ben was born old. They're all old here, except you and me, and the man, woman, or woman, man, or whatever you call her that came with you. They never do anything. They only discuss what other people do is right. Come and give them something to discuss.
I will do nothing incorrect.
Oh, don't be afraid, little boy. You'll get nothing but a kiss, and I'll fight like the devil to keep you from getting that. But we must play on the hill and race through the heather.
Why?
Because we want to, handsome young man.
But if everybody went on this way,
Oh, how happy the world would be.
the consequences may be serious.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my father's daughter.
I'm the son of 3 fathers. I mistrust these wild impulses.
Take care. You're letting the moment slip. I feel the first chill of the wave of prudence. Save me.
Really, Miss Tarleton? Damn you! I beg your pardon. But since we have both forgotten ourselves, you'll please allow me to leave the house.
Are you ashamed of having said damn you to me?
I had no right to say it, and I'm very much ashamed of it, and I've already begged your pardon.
And you're not ashamed of having said, really, Miss Tarleton?
Why should I?
Oh, man. Mean, stupid, cowardly, selfish, masculine male man. You ought to have been a governess. I was expelled from school for saying that the very next person that said, really, Miss Tarleton, to me, I would strike her across the face. You were the next.
I had no intention of being offensive. Surely there is nothing that can wound any lady, and at least, I really didn't mean to be disagreeable.
Liar.
Of course, if you're going to insult me, I'm quite helpless. You're a woman, you can say what you like.
And you can only say what you dare. Poor wretch. 'Tisn't much. Really, Mr. Percival, you sit down in the presence of a lady and leave her standing. really, Mr. Percival. Oh, really, 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 Mr. Percival. Now, how do you like it? Wouldn't you rather I damned you?
Miss Tarleton,
Hypatia, Joey. Patsy, if you like.
look here. This is no good. You want to do what you like?
Don't you?
No. I've been too well brought up. I've argued all through this thing, and I tell you, I'm not prepared to cast off the social bond. It's like a corset. It's a support to the figure, even if it does squeeze and deform it a bit. I want to be free.
Well, I'm tempting you to be free.
Not at all. Freedom, my good girl, means being able to count on how other people will behave. If every man who dislikes me is to throw a handful of mud in my face, and every woman who likes me is to behave like Potiphar's wife, then I shall be a slave. The slave of uncertainty, the slave of fear, the worst of all slaveries. How would you like it if every laborer you met in the road were to make love to you? No. Give me the blessed protection of a good stiff conventionality among thoroughly well brought up ladies and gentlemen.
Another talker. Men like conventions because men made them. I didn't make them. I don't like them, and I won't keep them. Now, what will you do?
Bolt.
I'll cut you.
Yay! Well done. So what are your first impressions about this? Or what are your impressions about this scene and the characters?
I mean, he's definitely. I don't know if he's as stiff as say Johnny would be, but I think he's definitely being brought up in this world of like, this is how you need to act, this is what you need to do, and he's kind of been thrust into this wild haymaker of a house, and then he kind of just ends up falling into the allure of it, I guess.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then
quite
ends up
literally
wanting to-
dropped in from the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then what about you, Michele?
It's there's a very interesting duality, I think, because clearly she has not gone through all of the straight-laced upbringing that most women would have. She's got a very independent mind. But by the same token, she has also absorbed a lot of social convention and propriety, and she's probably gone along with it for just to get along. But you get the sense that she's just completely bored out of her mind. And this is the most, I mean, God, whoever would pick Bunny to marry?
They don't really go into that. They don't really talk about their origin story.
Really, as to how they got. I mean, I think she might at one point even say sort of like she expects Bunny would be the best that she could expect.
Yeah.
Because maybe she can boss him around a bit
Well,
more.
and she talks about him like, well, I like to kiss him like a little baby, and I like to coddle him and things like that.
He's more like a lapdog.
Yeah, I think he's more like a lapdog to her, and she could put up with a lapdog.
Right. So, but this is something like completely different. Like I think she sees Percival and it's sort of like, ooh, everything goes all tingly.
Yeah. I mean, her father, Tarleton, says at one point, there, you see, she's not satisfied, restless, wants things to happen, wants adventures to drop out of the sky. Boom,
And I got my wish.
Got your wish. Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Paul? Got any ideas or impressions of the character?
I had an initial reaction to something that Dylan said. Dylan said Percival's not as stiff as Johnny. And my gut reaction was, of course he is. He's way stiffer than Johnny. But then I start to think about it. I'm thinking, I'm sorry, I'm being selfish. I'm thinking of my character.
No, of
Um,
course, he's playing Johnny.
Wait a minute. Maybe Johnny is that stiff, and maybe Percival is not as stiff as I thought he was.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just doing the right thing, and it's not because he's stiff and rigid and proper and all of those things. Maybe it's because he does the right thing because he's a gentleman.
Yeah. I mean, he was like all his lines of like, I was underlining this. What do you take me for? I will do nothing incorrect.
Yeah.
But if everybody went on this way, you know, the consequences may be serious. I'm the son of three fathers. I mistrust these wild impulses.
He also gets upset with himself because he said "damn it" to a lady. Damn you, actually, he said.
Yep. And also I find it very interesting because her story about, you know, slapping him, that I was told, you know, at school, and I said, you know, the next person who did that, I'd strike her across the face and you were the next. Well, Lord Summerhays says that to her. So
Mhm.
strike him then. But in the scene when, you know, it comes down to why are you here? You're blackmailing me. And she's like, what is that? You know, I don't have enough experience to know what that is. You know, that she is in a mood for intrigue this day.
I also have questions. I don't have a lot of feedback. I think y'all, I mean, it made
Yeah.
sense the way
Yeah.
y'all played it. But I have questions like, and these questions come from me not knowing the play that well.
Sure.
How well do they know each other? Where does this is more than just an attraction. This is like
No.
lust. Where does it come from?
She just met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that day, right? Or the day
Mhm.
before.
Mm-hmm. And Ben, well, I don't think she's in the space when Bentley talks about the three fathers. I don't remember. But yeah, somebody talks about his three fathers. It's somewhere in here. I'll find
Yeah.
it.
I think at some point she sort of is intrigued by the idea of him, and once when will you introduce me to him?
And how
And
close
There might be
this is
something.
not a commentary on what's her name? Hypatia's
Mm-hmm.
character. But in that time, a man's wealth was a part of the package and was a part of the attraction. Is he way wealthier than Bentley?
I don't know why I know it, but I'll have to double check myself. But I have a feeling that, yeah, that
But
there's
because
a lot
last
of
week
money
we
in
said
him.
that Bentley comes from serious money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And if they went to school together,
okay, but it's not about the money because Bentley has money.
yeah. Well, no, Bentley, I mean, they have money, but they're not like
Oh,
Uber.
they have status.
They have status.
Okay.
They definitely have, they've got the aristocracy, but I think I do believe Joey's upper class too.
He'd have to be able to go to a school in the same school as a public
Yeah.
school as the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to call him a chum. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the interesting thing, being interesting to explore the dichotomy of having sort of the three fathers aspect in an odd way. You can see how that actually lends more color and multiple levels to Joey than it would to Johnny. I mean, it's certainly there's more thinking, there's more Tarleton-esque sort of ideas to explore, because like unlike that, Johnny is like, when I read fiction. When I go to the theater, I want to sit there and not think about the work for the 2 hours you're entertaining me, and that's the extent of it. I don't need these philosophy books that Dad keeps putting in my way. I just don't need it. So to me, it's like Joey is sort of an interesting marriage of
For Hypatia, he's the
styles.
total package.
Yeah.
He's got the wit and intelligence
With
of Bunny
Yes.
with hunkiness.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
You
I
know,
mean,
Johnny's probably a very nice specimen, you know,
Oh, yeah.
her brother, you know, and would be quite fine for most women, but she needs something. She's her father's daughter. She needs
I mean,
something more.
it's like one of the things that I got me to thinking, because I think we don't hear it the same way, but I would love to mark down the things that are sort of shocking that she's saying. Like when she calls somebody or refers to somebody in a casual way, has she crossed a line? Is there a, there's like when she's talking with Lord Summerhaze about why he's not there, and he calls her I think a glorious young beast. And she says, nobody has ever called me a glorious young beast. I like that. Glorious young beast expresses exactly what I want to be.
Hmm.
And I don't remember where I put it. I do love this line. Well, I can't be poor. We're rolling in money, so it's no use pretending we're not. It's sort of like that. But I can be wicked, and I'm prepared to be.
Mm.
So
I love it. There's a line here that I'm stealing that I'm going to keep and use in my life. I feel the first chill of the wave of prudence. I'm stealing
Yeah.
that.
I do love that one. That's another
Yes.
one. Yep. It's she says it's a dirty job, but Johnny and I were vulgar enough to like it. Making mud pies as a kid.
Mm.
P because no, I like young people because they're not too afraid of dirt to live. I've grown out of mud pies, but I like slang.
Mm.
And I like bustling you up by saying things that shock you. And I'd rather put up with swearing and smoking than with dull respectability. And there are lots of things that would just shrivel you up that I think rather jolly.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got to thinking too about, I mean, if Tarleton built his wealth from a small, beginning, what was their upbringing like, to the degree that how long were they sort of maybe not lower class, but building up to the wealth, where mom has her whole speech about her transition too, of what it was like to suddenly be in a more upper class kind of thing, but they're not aristocracy, so they're not bound, and they certainly weren't raised in a household where they were bound by certain rules. The same way it seems that both Bentley and Joey were raised in. The interesting thing that I find about Bunny and Hypatia, and why they kind of work as at least as friends, is they're both sort of shockers.
Mm-hmm.
They like to antagonize. So at least there's that. But I will say one thing, and then we'll keep going with the scene. But
Are they
And they
also
both think very quickly. They
yes,
both think very quickly. I think
very fast. Yes.
Johnny is not very quick, except with his fists.
Yes. And that's something that I think is very built up in her, because he's like, at one point when mom is scolding him, he said that except for the one time that I beat her up and I apologized and I promised you I would never do it again. And he's lived under this, Johnny, are you gonna, Johnny? But one of the things that I love, because Shaw wrote a lot of these stage directions, is when Hypatia first enters and Bentley's throwing his fit, pouncing on Bentley with no very gentle hand. So, it's like she's taken the puppy by the
Yes.
scruff.
Mm.
Like,
is it also fair to say that both of them are not big fans of rules and boundaries?
Bentley and
Hypatia.
Hypatia?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I think so. I mean, their approaches might be different
Yeah.
at the way they attack that sort of idea. But
I mean,
And their
15
reasons
years
might be
later,
different, too.
Hypatia would have been a flapper.
yeah, yeah. She would have hidden liquor everywhere in the house. And only used the books for cutting out. So she would hide the flask in the book.
Flask, yes.
And she would have been the first to cut her hair short into a
Right,
bob.
right. Oh, she would have done that almost immediately.
Yep. Yep. And
Had a whole collection of jazz records.
completely. Oh yeah. And her father would have loved it.
Yes.
They told her to read something. So Dylan, talk to me where you think Percival rides the mannered aspect and the temptation of this scene with Hypatia. I find it very interesting that a lot of times people can really lean into the aspect of like, no, I'm arguing against you. No, I'm arguing against me. But the idea of where's the temptation
Mm,
that she's really
yeah,
tempting because you've never, first of all, you crash landed into this place with a partner that you thought was another guy.
yeah,
Turns out you've got this bizarre creature, Polish creature, who just did some acrobatics in the air as you were crashing and saved your life.
yeah.
Um, and I think you were trying to set the record for, if I recall,
Mm,
that you're doing the
yes.
flight because you're setting the record for passengers
I
or
thought it
something.
was the other person that was setting the record.
Oh,
Or-
that Lena,
Yeah.
yeah, convinced them, yeah.
Hmm.
But pardon me. But so and I mean this woman been there for what, 2 hours, an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
So tell me about where you think Percival's headed. This isn't a test or anything like that. As we're bantering, we're coming up with more and more ideas.
Mhm.
So what do you think?
I think in the beginning it's like a what are you doing? This isn't how you're supposed to act. But as the scene progresses, it's sort of like a I'm gonna keep my morals, but where is this going? Kind of thing. And so it's having the boundary, but in the conversation, in his lines, he's allowing her to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I think he's intrigued. He's like, I've never met someone like this. I've been well brought up and I have my morals, but like, where's this going?
Right. Nobody covered this in any of the chapters, that I
Yeah.
was raised with. Nobody told me what to do in this circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty she's pretty audacious with him. I mean, and there's a part of me that loves Joey and sort of feels like there's a softer side to Joey because he was so kind to Bentley that you can
Mm,
tell that he's not
yeah.
joining the pylon Bentley movement, doesn't call him Bunny. He's the only one who calls him Ben,
Hmm.
which I find very sweet and endearing. Which to me also suggests an intimacy and a friendship.
Hmm.
And a respect, which nobody is giving Bentley.
Yeah.
Till Lena at the end when she's like, "You'll come with me," and he says, "Yeah." So all right, let's look at the top and just start from there. So and yeah, let's just start reading and then I'll stop you.
Mm.
Mr. Percival? Mr. Percival, where are you? Ah, aren't you glad I've caught you?
No, I'm not. Confounded. What sort of girl are you? What sort of house is this? Must I throw all good manners to the winds?
Do. This is the house of a respectable shopkeeper, enormously rich. This is the respectable shopkeeper's daughter, tired of good manners. Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter.
All right, I'm gonna stop
No.
you now. Stop, stop, stop. Let's start the scene again. And I want you to both try and take your time with this with Percival. What the fuck is
Yeah.
happening to me right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
But it's also happening with a woman who has probably never made you go, woo, little pinwheel.
Yeah.
Um, and then Hypatia, a lot of like, you know how it's funny when you're easy with the other guys and you're clever and things like that, and then when you actually are attracted to someone and you suddenly sound like a you lose words or you find or you blurt something out and then see where it would take you if when you catch yourself doing something. Oh, that felt good. Or, ooh, did I go too far? Or, because you are pushing a social norm. I think she's very well aware of them because that's how she knows how to break them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So let's start at thinking that you actually have lost him,
Okay.
gotten away from you, and how you react when you find out that you. Oh, you did get him after all.
Mr. Percival? Mr. Percival? Oh, where are you? Ah, aren't you glad I've caught you?
No, I'm not. Confound it. What sort of girl are you? What sort of house is this? Must I throw all good manners to the winds?
Do. This is the house of a respectable shopkeeper, enormously rich. This is the respectable shopkeeper's daughter, tired of good manners. Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter.
No, no. Don't you know that you mustn't go on like this with a perfect stranger?
Look down from the sky. Don't you know that you must always go on like this when you get the chance? You must come to the top of the hill and chase me through the bracken. You may kiss me if you catch me.
Excellent. Excellent. Sort of starts things up just a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little differently. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah. It's so funny because I love that she slips her hand into his and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't pull away until after she said, "Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter."
Yeah.
That it's not, so there's moments of, oh, okay, no, I can't.
Yeah.
To watch Percival fight with that while he's also fighting with her
Mm.
is going to be really interesting to go with the journey. And Hypatia having fun taking the risks and when you get the do, play with that. Like do, or whatever you want to do, just play around with it, and it could eventually just it falls out of her mouth. But the thing that I love to repeat over and over, is like my old teacher used to say, Richard Easton. Yeah. He used to say you should always try anything in rehearsal because even if you don't end up going that way, the ghost of it will be in your performance. So if you pull the do's apart and try different things, different rhythms or whatever, that will help sort of play into what you end up finally doing. At least that's what I believe. Um, uh, it would be interesting to play around with, Joey. when there are quotes around what you say.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like if,
yeah.
you know, the whole thing about, no, you know, you mustn't go on like this with a perfect stranger. My
Mm,
dad told me that. Dad number 2 told me that one, you know,
yeah.
just every once in a while, a phrase like, it's like a reset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, drop down from the sky. And it would be fun to find moments on your own lines, Percival, of just maybe a second somewhere where you go, God, did I hit my head? You know,
Yeah.
you-
Yeah.
how could you not have at least cut your face? I don't know, but because it's Shaw, it's a play. Suspend your
Mm-hmm.
disbelief.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, and going into this, how much of is your knowledge of her engagement to Ben part of it's part of the manners.
Mm, yeah.
It's true. Or is this a woman that when you first saw her, you're like, and then you found it, oh shoot, Ben's already got her.
Yeah. Mm,
These are all things I'm just gonna throw at you like
yeah.
it's in Pollock acting and directing, just
Yeah.
trying to see what hits the wall and drips down the best. So I'm gonna let you go further with those ideas. So start again from the top. I loved you playing with those ideas at the top. You know.
Mr. Percival? Mr. Percival! Oh, where are you? Aren't you glad I caught you?
No, I'm not. Confound it, and what sort of girl are you? What sort of house is this? Must I throw all good manners to the winds?
Do, do, do. This is the house of a respectable shopkeeper, enormously rich. This is the respectable shopkeeper's daughter, tired of good manners. Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter.
No, no. Don't you know you mustn't go on like this with a perfect stranger?
Drop down from the sky. Don't you know that you must always go on like this when you get a chance? Oh, you must come to the top of the hill and chase me through the bracken. You may kiss me if you catch me.
I shall do nothing of the sort.
Yes, you will. You can't help yourself. Come along. Oh, oh, come along. Don't you want to?
No, certainly not. I should never be forgiven if I did.
You'll never forgive yourself if you don't.
No, nonsense. You're engaged to Ben. Ben is my friend. What do you take me for?
Ben's old. Ben was born old. They're all old here, except you and me and the man-woman or woman-man or whatever you call her that came with you. They never do anything. They only discuss whether what other people do is right. Come and give them something to discuss.
I will do nothing incorrect.
Don't be afraid, little boy. You'll get nothing but a kiss. And I'll fight like the devil to keep you from getting that. But we must play on the hill and race through the heather.
Why?
Because we want to, handsome young man.
But if everybody went on this way,
Oh, how happy! Oh, how happy the world would be.
but the consequences may be serious.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my
I
father's
am the
daughter.
son of, sorry. I am the son of 3 fathers.
Oh,
I mistrust these wild impulses.
take care. You're letting the moment slip. I feel the first chill of the wave of prudence. Save me.
All right, I'll
Really,
catch you
Mrs.
before we get to
Carlton?
slapping. Nicely done, my friends. Um, let me sorry. Um, I had a couple of thoughts. Play around with the idea, Michele, of you must come to the top of the hill and chase me through the bracken. Is that something that she just sort of like, she's looking around, she's like, ooh, bracken, let's do it.
Do
Or
it.
is it something that she's fantasized about, like, oh, I've got to fill it out, all the things that I've fantasized about, rolling around in the hayloft, that kind of a thing. Let's do this one. You know, play around with that, because if it is a new idea, then coming back to it when you do
Mhm.
can be even more, I'm committed to this fantasy. You know, if you wanted to do it to help find other colors and tap back to other ideas.
Yes, yes.
Um, now, so I love that when you go, yes, you will, you can't help yourself, come along. He doesn't move. Not only is he standing there, not going with you, but he's not leaving into the house either. So, Joey, that gives you a sense of like, oh crap, where is he at? His indecision, his temptation versus propriety. Never met a girl like this before. And you can see that like as a possibility of like, oh, is it working? It's not working. Is it working? It's not working. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, Michele?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then so here's one for you, Dylan. The moments when he lists out the reasons for not chasing.
Mhm.
He's trying to convince her, but is he really also trying to convince himself?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Because while he's learned all these rules, he's never been tested on any of them.
Yeah.
Certainly probably never thought he'd be tested like this.
Yeah.
In a, you know, a wealthy atmosphere in a place where people are dressed well and they're mannered and everything, and suddenly this vixen.
Yeah.
And which leads to the other question, if she wasn't engaged to Ben,
Mm.
which might, however you answer it for yourself, might give you an idea of how hard it is for him to resist her in the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I had never thought of that, Erika, until you just said it.
Oh.
That he doesn't leave. There's a reason he doesn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
I
He could-
never thought of that. I just always thought that he was like, wasn't interested, but it's a play. Why would he not be interested? Of course he is.
Yeah. Yeah. And that the next time we see them together,
Yeah.
He's chasing her.
he's chasing her. It's so it's like it might have been a far more interesting play up in the bracken and we just didn't get to see it. You know what I mean? So we have to leave that little door open of like, huh.
I'm confused by something.
Sure, hit me.
When Hype says drop down from the sky.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what literally it means. That the plane crashed. I get it. But I'm confused by what she means. Because he just said,
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at the script, but she says it in response to him saying, don't you know you're not supposed to do things like that? And she says, drop down from the sky. Don't you know you always should do something like that or something like that?
The way I think of it is that he's not just a perfect stranger. He has come into my life
Like a gift.
Yes, in it literally heaven sent. And oh, all I've wanted was to have an adventure. How more adventurous can you get than having somebody drop down out of the sky? He's not just a perfect stranger. You
I
know?
also, see, because when I read it, it kind of clicked my head too, like you would sometimes if you know you're reading a translation and you feel like they maybe in the translation or adaptation, they missed
Right.
it there. That the way I think to make it clear is if you're making a point to him with it.
Yeah.
That it,
So what Michele just said, does that mean it's not a response to what he just said? It's just an exclamation. Oh my gosh, this gift has landed in my lap. Or is it in response to what he just said?
I
And
think
is
it's
it tied to what she says next?
right, right.
yes.
What,
Yeah.
Michele? Yeah.
I think it is in response. Literally, I'm saying you are not a stranger. You are the most amazing thing that has ever happened in my life.
Yeah. And but I would also, and I would say, drop down from the sky, it's like pointing out to him the absurdity of
Yeah.
Mm,
Okay.
what an extraordinary moment. So how should we be behaving except
Yeah.
for like this?
Yeah.
mm,
You know, and it could be anything from like apostrophizing like you dropped like the gods to, excuse me, you just dropped down from the sky. You know, it could be any sort of, but as long as there's a, you're pointing it to make that point with him, that will clarify the sort of the, for lack of a better phrase, the rough connection. Because I caught that little tweak too when reading
Mhm.
through it. Because it doesn't feel necessarily like a direct response initially.
Mhm.
But I think as long as you continue to point out to him that the rules that he's applying are to any and all other circumstance
Not
from
this.
this one where you just dropped in from the sky. Your rules mean nothing.
Yes.
So, and I will say that they do have one exchange when he first comes in and they sit at the same table and Lena's coming and everybody's kind of gobsmacked and he asks her, well, you know, if you're married, and she says, I'm not married. And you know, Hypatia leans in and she says, it's clever of you.
Yeah.
What? You know, and she's like, to find out if she's single or not,
mm,
to call him on it. And I don't know that any other well brought up woman would have done that. She might have
Mm.
noted it, but I find it to be anything that I think with Hypatia and back to the whole, I would love to know how much of this is slang, how much the audience during Shaw's time would have gone, oh my God,
mm.
you know, what would be shocking to them, if any of it, or whatever, because now we just hear it and things are funny. You know, it's just kind of a great turn of phrase. She's the only person in the play who talks like this. So I think it's finding the awareness of that, using those moments of slang with her. She thinks very differently, and she's willing to take a risk to get out of this situation. And so now she's got to convince him to take the risk with her. Like the a drop from the sky can also be, you just survived a plane crash. How much more extraordinary does this moment need to be? I don't know. I think there was something else I was going to say in there, but then of course I went off on one of my little rattles. Um, so yeah. One more time from the top, and first of all, I want this to be so hard for you because you want to rip her clothes off.
Mm.
Just as a try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's just give that a shot and see what happens. We'll keep going.
Okay.
Mr. Percival? Mr. Percival? Where are you? Uh, aren't you glad I caught you?
No, I'm not. Confound it! What sort of girl are you? What sort of house is this? I mean, must I throw all good manners to the winds?
Do, do, do. This is the house of a respectable shopkeeper, enormously rich. This is the respectable shopkeeper's daughter, tired of good manners. Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, don't you know you mustn't go on like this with a perfect stranger?
Drop down from the sky? Don't you know that you must always go on like this when you get the chance? Oh. You must come to the top of the hill and chase me through the bracken. You may kiss me if you catch me.
No, I shall do nothing of the sort.
Yes, you will. You can't help yourself. Come along. Fool. Fool. Come along. Don't you want to?
No, certainly not. I should never be forgiven if I did it.
You'll never forgive yourself if you don't.
Nonsense. I mean, you're engaged to Ben. Ben is my friend. I mean, what do you take me for?
Ben's old. Ben was born old. They're all old here, except you and me and that man, woman, or woman, man, or whatever you call her that came with you. They never do anything. They only discuss whether other people do is right. Come and give them something to discuss.
No, I will do nothing incorrect.
Oh, don't be afraid, little boy. You'll get nothing but a kiss. And I'll fight like the devil to keep you from getting that. But we must play on the hill and race through the heather.
Why?
Because we want to, handsome young man.
I mean, but if everybody went on this way,
How happy, oh, how happy the world would be.
but the consequences may be serious.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my father's daughter.
I'm the son of 3 fathers. I mistrust these wild impulses.
Take care. You're letting the moment slip. I feel the first chill of the wave of prudence. Save me.
Really, Miss Tarleton? Ah, damn you! I beg your pardon. But since we've both forgotten ourselves, you'll please allow me to leave the house.
Are you ashamed of having said damn you to me?
I had no right to say it. I'm very much ashamed of it. I have already begged your pardon.
And you're not ashamed of having said, really, Miss Tarleton?
Why should I?
Oh, man, mean, stupid, cowardly, selfish, masculine male man. You ought to have been a governess. I was expelled from school for saying that the very next person that said, really, Miss Tarleton, to me, I would strike her across the face. You were next.
I had no intention of being offensive. Surely there is nothing that can wound any lady, or at least I really didn't mean to be disagreeable.
All right,
Liar.
got it. I hope you know, because I have my audio off, but I'm giggling like crazy. It's some great stuff, you guys. I want to go back to
That was really, really, really good. That was a lot of fun.
it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Michele, you are entirely too believable playing that role.
I concur. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Um, um, All right. I'm going back to, yes, you will. You can't help yourself. Come along. Fool, fool, come along. Don't you want to? And the fun thing, and sometimes can make things actually even more funny in the joke sometimes. If you genuinely ask the question, don't you want to? You know, those kind of just sort of, instead of it being like, oh, come on, it's just a plain old, and I would say this for both of you, is we're about to get into a real back and forth argument,
Mhm.
An intellectual one, but you give it another color. If you're actually at the point of convincing him. I'm going to convince you of this, and I can see you're thinking. So go with me. And then she hits him. Because the logic part isn't quite getting him over the line either. Um, I would love to see as we go through, well, we'll find moments later on, but with Percival, moments where you sort of smile at her and you just
Mhm.
you have to convince yourself not to.
Yeah.
So when he says, but we must play on the hill and race through the heather, and genuinely ask her why.
Why? Yeah.
Just to try this as an actual conversation, this section,
Mhm.
because we want to, handsome young man, really make that point. Just because we want to. You know, why, with all these manners and such, why? That's not a line reading, but if everybody went on this way, get him with this point. How happy would the world be? You know, but the consequences may be serious. To me, that sounds a little like he's really sort of starting to, well, this could be bad.
Mhm.
He's no longer saying this is bad. It could be bad.
Could be bad. Yeah.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my father's daughter. I am the son of 3 fathers. I resist this wild impulses. Take care. You're letting the moment slip. Without it going internal, maybe get a little impatient with him. Just as trying another color, like, oh, for fuck's sake, would you get there? You know, it's like, um, um, and it is such a wonderful turn of phrase. I feel the first chill of wave of impudence or, prudence. I love that. And then really, Miss Tarleton, she strikes him, damn you, beg your pardon, but since we've both forgotten ourselves, you have committed a major sin,
Yeah.
big sin. Even though she smacked you. I mean, but a real man would never, you went too far.
Mm.
And it would be interesting if you genuinely asked him, like, in a puzzling way, hang on, really? Really, again, asking the question. Think about what to do with, like, so I had no right to say it. I'm very much ashamed. When he says, I have already begged you. I've already said I'm sorry, I just find it interesting that in his mannered way, he's pointing out to her, I said I'm sorry. It's like, so there'd be something really curious. It could be anything from a whimper to anger to things that would make Percival uncomfortable if they slipped out, kind of thing.
Mm.
We're seeing a crack in the facade, maybe.
Mhm.
I think it should be really, really puzzling when she says, you're not ashamed of having said real and mischarged. Because that's a statement. She's not asking him. It's a state. She's saying it. And then the why should I really ask her?
Yeah.
You don't know, like, because this is new to you. And then the next one, and partly why I stopped here is the story about the governess and hitting and everything. Is that a lie?
I think it may be the truth.
It is, but she didn't slap Lord Summerhays.
Oh, no, no. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just something to think about. I don't know the answer. A color to play with. It doesn't have to be, I'm lying, audience. But the idea of where she goes and why, because I don't think Shaw made the mistake of saying having Lord Summerhays is really Miss Tarleton. And nothing comes up. She doesn't have a twitch. She doesn't, but it's here. I mean, she's got to come up with a reason why, I don't know if it's her trying to justify it. Like, this is her, well, this is why. She may not know why she hit him, except to maybe just hit him because she's frustrated and she wants him to get on with it. I don't know. These are just ideas I would love for you to play with. I would strike her across the face and you were the next. Or if it's the truth, give it to me like it's a vow that you made before God. I said I'd do it. I had no intention of being offensive. Surely there's nothing that can wound any late. Finish that sentence for me in your head. I don't know. So I had no intention of being offensive. Surely there is nothing that can wound any lady in ... At least, I really didn't mean to be disagreeable.
Yeah.
Is he breaking at this point? Is he about to say, a lady who's, I don't know, coming at me like you are, or there's a reason he stops himself. He knows his train of thought, stops himself, kind of bumps along, and then gets back to manners. I really didn't mean to be.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have an answer right now. This is spitballing as we're going along.
Right.
Can I ask another logic question?
Sure.
Just because my brain is weak.
No, you have a curious mind.
She says, I was expelled from school for threatening to hit the next person who said that to me, right? Not for hitting someone, but for threatening to hit someone, right? Is that what she's saying?
Yeah.
Or is she saying, I was so intimidated? No, that doesn't make sense. I was so intimidating, they were afraid of me and they kicked me out of school. And so you opened your mouth and you got hit.
Right.
Or is she saying, because I was out of line, I was out of order for threatening to hit someone, I was kicked out of school, and I've been waiting ever since for someone to say that to me.
Well, it's just hitting me. I think the thing that also is getting lost is you ought to have been a governess. And this is why. Because the last one I dealt with,
Oh,
but I'm just making that connection too.
oh, because she said that to the governess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was going to hit, she told the governess, if you say that to me again, I'm going to hit you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But she's also in the same time, she's just gone from, oh man, and she's railing at the idea of the masculine male man, and then says, are you a governess? Because I tell you, the last time I dealt with one, this is what happened. And really find, Michele, those words of the mean, stupid, cowardly, selfish, be a blundering thesaurus. And the interesting, he doesn't finish that sentence. He hesitates, not quite convinced. So I don't know what the rest of that sentence is. But he's rattled, clearly. Cracks are showing. But I would love it if anybody can figure out the possibilities of where that sentence goes. If you don't mind the collective throwing in, Dylan. on
No,
that.
of course.
Yeah. And we don't have to have the answer tonight either, but that has really like stuck with me as a sort of a flag, like, God, what is he saying? Where was he gonna go?
The way I look at it is that he's taking at first he's taking the naturally taking the position that a man takes, you know. I know how to behave, and nothing in what I said is offensive, but all of a sudden he maybe is seeing something a little from her point of view. And so it's not that it wasn't offensive, but I didn't mean to be offensive when I said that. But something is getting through to him is what I think.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too, because not quite convinced.
Yeah.
And if that's a Shaw stage direction, convinced of her argument, which would make sense since, you
And
know.
Yeah.
and the way I'm hearing it is a little different. It may not be different than
Great,
what you're
great.
saying.
No, do it.
What I think I hear him saying is, in all of this resistance that I've been giving you, none of it is meant to be offensive. That just slipped. That offensive thing that I just said slipped out,
Mm.
which maybe is exactly what you're saying, but a little bit different in my head. Instead of, those words that I just said, I didn't really mean to be offensive with them. It's a little bit different to me than this whole evening. I'm resisting you, but I don't mean to offend you. And that sounded offensive, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
I told
Yeah.
you, my brain is weak, so that all of what I just said may not make any sense at all.
No, it's a nuanced difference. There's the difference there. And I think it all, like us, he's having trouble articulating.
Yeah.
Meta moment. So let's think about that. Maybe if we go a little further, because Percival's about to talk a little bit more,
Mm.
things will become clearer.
Mm.
So how about we start from Hypatia's, are you ashamed of having said damn you to me?
Okay.
And well, actually, no, we want to go back a little bit further because I want to hear your having a real discussion about but we must play on the hill and race through the heather. Why?
Mm.
I really want to hear the conversation, the argument
Mhm.
going through and
Right.
forward.
Oh, don't be afraid, little boy. You'll get nothing but a kiss. And I'll fight like the devil to keep you from getting that. But we must play in the hill and race through the heather.
Why?
Because we want to, handsome young man.
But if everybody went on in this way,
How happy, oh, how happy the world would be.
the consequences may be serious.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my father's daughter.
Try that
I'm the
section try the section one more time. And I want to make sure Dylan convince, even though he's getting a wavery, his points are also back at her.
Yeah.
Instead of just musing on the points that she's making.
Yeah.
Try
Yeah.
and make the point back to her.
Okay.
Same place. Good job.
Oh, don't be afraid, little boy. You'll get nothing but a kiss. And I'll fight like the devil to keep you from getting that. But we must play on the hill and race through the heather.
Why?
Because we want to, handsome young man.
But if everybody went on in this way,
Be. Oh, how happy the world would be.
but the consequences may be serious.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my father's daughter.
Well, I'm the son of 3 fathers. I mistrust these wild impulses.
Take care, you're letting the moment slip. I feel the first chill of the wave of prudence. Save me!
Oh, really, Miss Tarleton? Oh, damn you! I beg your pardon, but since we've both forgotten ourselves, you'll please allow me to leave the house.
Are you ashamed of having said damn you to me?
I had no right to say it. I'm very much ashamed of it. I have already begged your pardon.
And you're not ashamed of having said, really, Miss Tarleton?
Why should I?
Oh, man, mean, stupid, cowardly, selfish, masculine male man. You ought to have been a governess. I was expelled from school for saying that the very next person said, really, Miss Tarleton, to me, I would strike her across the face. You were the next.
I had no intention of being offensive. Surely there's nothing that can wound any lady, or at least, what? I really didn't mean to be disagreeable.
Liar.
Of course, if you're going to insult me, I'm quite helpless. You're a woman, you can say what you like.
And you can say only what you dare. Poor wretch. 'Tisn't much. Really, Mr. Percival, you sit down in the presence of a lady and leave her standing? Really, Mr. Percival? Oh, really, really, Mr. Percival? Now, how do you like it? Wouldn't you rather I damned you?
Miss Tarleton,
Hypatia, Joey. Patsy, if you like.
look here. This is no good. You do what you want to do what you like.
Don't you?
Well, no. I've been too well brought up. I've argued all through this thing, and I can tell you that I'm not prepared to cast off the social bond. It's like a corset. It's a support to the figure, even if it does squeeze and deform it a bit. I want to be free.
Well, I'm tempting you to be free.
Not at all. Freedom, my good girl, means being able to count on how other people will behave. If every man who disliked me is to throw a handful of mud in my face, and every woman who likes me is to behave like Portier's wife, then I shall be a slave. The slave of uncertainty, the slave of fear, the worst of all slaveries. I mean, how would you like it if every laborer you met in the road were to make love to you? No. Give me the blessed protection of a good, stiff conventionality amongst thoroughly well brought up ladies and gentlemen.
Ugh, another talker. Men like conventions because men made them. I didn't make them. I don't like them, and I won't keep them. Now, what will you do?
Bolt.
I'll catch you.
Really well done, y'all. This is great. Um.
We have an intruder.
Oh, Daddy.
Hi, everybody. Hey, Dylan.
Hello.
How are you? How's
Um,
Theo?
One thing
He's
that
good,
I
he's
was
good.
thinking of, there are times when I think Hypatia's actually acting like a director. She's got a scene, a fantasy scene she wants to play in her mind, and he's not entirely going along with it. No, that's not what you do. This
Yeah,
is what you do.
And but it's almost like at a certain point she has to let go of the bar on the roller coaster.
Yeah,
She's trying to convince him to do the same.
yeah.
Um. So you can only say what you dare. Poor wretch. It isn't much. And I think it's a great moment to take advantage of his manners, and it's almost like an automatic, like sit, beg, stand up, with the whole, he sits down and she's like, oh, really? I think you can play with that to mock him. Like, oh my God, I'm so offended that you sat in my presence kind of thing. Really play around with it. And then I loved how you really went into the really, 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 really. You know, that was great. Miss Charlton. Hypatia, Joey, Patsy, if you like. Look here, this is no good. You want to do what you like? It's so funny. Well, yeah, but Percival, I'd actually come in, play with the idea, sorry, that his no is immediate because it's programmed.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been too well brought up. I've argued all through this thing, and I tell you, I'm not prepared to cast off the social bond. I find that so interesting. Maybe he's had these temptations before, hasn't been around very long, but maybe the moment he saw her, he started arguing through all these different things. It could
Yeah.
be a statement of more immediacy. I don't know.
Mm,
And maybe it's disappointing to you. I can't cast off the social bond. I just can't do it.
mhm.
It's like a corset. I love this metaphor. To support the figure, even if it does squeeze into form a bit. I want to be free. And here's what's really great, and I think needs to be crystal clear, is there are different definitions of what freedom is.
Yeah.
It happens earlier when I'm not sure if it's Hypatia or Johnny who says to Lord Summerhays, I think it's great because you make people toe the line. And Summerhays basically says, yes, but there's no progress if they stay at the line.
Mm,
Which is really interesting considering he was sort of the imperial, Indian civil servant who was cracking the whip and making sure we followed English rules.
mm.
But I caught that one today. When it's Potiphar, I think it is
Potiphar, yes.
Potiphar was the wife of, I think he was the guy in charge of all of Pharaoh's army or guard.
Okay.
And she made a pass at Joseph, and she lied and said that he raped her. And so he was sent to
Ah,
prison. So
okay.
that's what he's referencing there.
Got it.
Likes to behave like Potiphar's wife, then I shall be a slave, uncertain slave, fear the worst of all slaveries. And you can build that with I shall be a slave. No, 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 no. I'll be a slave of uncertainty. No, 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 the slave of fear, the worst. I can't even describe what the worst is. It's just the worst.
Yeah.
Um, and just for my own cheap joke sense, Michele, when he says, how would you like it if every laborer you met in the road were to make love to you? I think that is a delightful idea.
Okay.
And that I want to hear however you want to react, Dylan, to with your no.
Yeah.
Give me the blessed protection of a good stiff conventionality among thoroughly well brought up ladies and gentlemen. And here I would play with the idea, Michele, of maybe not doubt, but maybe a little disappointment of like that she's drawing the line. It's like, well, are you going to do it or not? Because maybe it's this frustration of I've given you all of my arguments. You're either going to come play with me in the bracket or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like almost an ultimatum.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he bolts. And so clearly he's not going back into the house.
Mm-hmm.
So when you decide to do that, Dylan, allow yourself to enjoy the idea of what you're going to bolt.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going to happen to Bracken, but it's going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's do that from Savor, of course you're going to insult me. I am quite helpless. You're a woman and you could say what you like.
Mm.
Through to the end. Really great work, you guys.
course, if you're going to insult me, I'm quite helpless. You're a woman. You can say what you like.
And you can only say what you dare. Poor wretch, 'tisn't much. Really, Mr. Percival, you sit down in the presence of a lady and leave her standing? Really, Mr. Percival? Oh, really, 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 Mr. Percival? How do you like it? Wouldn't you rather I damned you?
Miss Tarleton,
Hypatia, Joey. Patsy, if you like.
look here. This is no good. You want to do as you like?
Don't you?
No. I've been too well brought up. I've argued all through this thing, and I'll tell you, I am not prepared to cast off the social bond. It's like a corset. It's a support to the figure, even if it does squeeze and deform a bit. I mean, I want to be free.
Well, I'm tempting you to be free.
Not at all. Freedom, my good girl, means being able to count on how other people will behave. If every man who dislikes me is to throw a handful of mud in my face, and every woman who likes me is to behave like Potiphar's wife, then I shall be a slave. A slave of uncertainty, a slave of fear, the worst of all slaveries. I mean, how would you like it if every laborer you met in the road were to make love to you? No. Give me the blessed protection of a good stiff conventionality among thoroughly well brought up ladies and gentlemen.
Another talker. Men like conventions because men made them. I didn't make them. I don't like them. I won't keep them. Now, what will you do?
Bolt.
I'll cut you.
Really nice work, you guys. Really, 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 really. I got as we were going there, the progression of the whole overarching theme. I think when they actually get down to talking about their own definitions of what freedom is, it's the deciding moment. It's the, oh wow. For Joey, is it, wow, now that I say it out loud, I kind of want to try your freedom. You know what I mean? That it isn't until she draws the line and says, well, what are you going to do? And what's kind of fun with him as a partner is that while he's another talker, he sticks around. He never actually leaves. And he could very easily walk into the house. Say, Mrs. Tarleton, do something about your daughter. Or Mr. Tarleton. But it's really great, you guys. It's gonna be fun, the beginning, the middle, of the end. Yeah, very much so. So,
there was also one little thing that I got was when he says, I'm not prepared to cast off the social bond. It's like a corset. And any woman who has ever worn a corset knows that it is not something that you want, except to make a false presentation to the outside world.
and they've been told they have to wear
And
that.
and you've been told that only because otherwise you are like Potiphar's wife. You jiggle around, and that's not what a nice lady does. And so I think that I just realized that would really set me off too.
Yeah, because she goes into it's funny if you play with the idea of like if he thinks that he's making a good point because he's talking about a garment that she has to wear. Like when you women have to wear bras. It's not always comfortable, but it keeps you from bouncing around, doesn't it? You can play with that too, because after his whole, and I loved your building of the different slaveries. That was great. Give me the blessed protection of a good stiff conventionality among thoroughly well brought up ladies and gentlemen. Like, I don't know if that's his final word, or if that's where he disappointedly lands. I don't think I can do it. Another talker, men like, and maybe just for the try of it, the whole thing about, well, if you're going to talk to me about corsets,
Mm.
you know, men like conventions because men made them. That it's actually a point to him
Yes.
instead of a men, that it's because you got a chance to do that before with cowardly and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Get my point.
Yeah.
You go by this. We're all supposed to go by this because you guys created this.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to find another convention. So, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Alt. Yeah. I'm going to try it. You know, you thought the most exciting thing of your day was crashing in an airplane. But yeah, excellent work, Yazal. We got half an hour left. Do you guys want to try it once from the tippy top all the way through and to see what we retain and what we are inspired by, and
Okay.
and we can show Theo's dad what we did,
Mhm.
and you know, have some fun with it, and then we'll see if we want to maybe touch on the boys briefly to at least review how far we got before, if we
Okay.
have that time, if that makes sense. All right, give it a shot. Curtain up in 2 minutes.
Mr. Percival? Mr. Percival? Oh, where are you? Oh, oh, aren't you glad I've caught you?
No, no, I'm not. Oh, confound it. What sort of girl are you? What sort of house is this? Must I throw all good manners to the winds?
Do, 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 do. This is the house of a respectable shopkeeper, enormously rich. This is the respectable shopkeeper's daughter, tired of good manners. Come, handsome young man, and play with the respectable shopkeeper's daughter.
Oh, no, no, no. You know you mustn't go on like this with a perfect stranger.
Drop down from the sky. Don't you know that you must always go on like this when you get the chance? You must come to the top of the hill and chase me through the bracken. You may kiss me if you catch me.
I shall do nothing of that sort.
Yes, you will. You can't help yourself. Come along. Fool. Fool, come along. Don't you want to?
No, certainly not. I should never be forgiven if I did it.
You'll never forgive yourself if you don't.
Ah, nonsense. I mean, you are engaged to Ben. Ben is my friend. I mean, what do you take me for?
Ben's old. Ben was born old. They're all old here, except you and me and that man-woman or woman-man or whatever you call her that came with you. They never do anything. They only discuss whether what other people do is right. Come and give them something to discuss.
I will do nothing incorrect.
Oh, don't be afraid, little boy. You'll get nothing but a kiss. And I'll fight like the devil to keep you from getting that. But we must play on the hill and run through the heather.
Why?
Because we want to, handsome young man.
But if everyone went on in this way,
How happy, oh, how happy the world would be.
but the consequences may be serious.
Nothing is worth doing unless the consequences may be serious. My father says so, and I'm my father's daughter.
Well, I am the son of 3 fathers. I mistrust these wild impulses.
Take care. You're letting the moment slip. I feel the first chill of the wave of prudence. Save me.
Really, Miss Tarleton? Oh, damn you! Oh, I beg your pardon. But since we've both forgotten ourselves, you'll please allow me to leave the house.
Are you ashamed of having said, damn you to me?
I had no right to say it. I am very much ashamed to say it. I've already begged your pardon.
And you're not ashamed of having said, really, Miss Tarleton?
Why should I?
Oh, man! Mean, stupid, cowardly, selfish, masculine male man. You ought to have been a governess. I was expelled from school for saying that the very next person that said, really, Miss Tarleton, to me, I would strike her across the face. You were the next.
I had no intention of being offensive. Surely there's nothing that can wound any lady. At least, uh, I, I really didn't mean to be disagreeable.
Liar.
Well, of course, if you're going to insult me, I'm quite helpless. You're a woman. You can say what you like.
And you can only say what you dare. Poor wretch. It isn't much. Really, Mr. Percival, you sit down in the presence of a lady and leave her standing.
I-
Really, Mr. Percival? Mr. Percival, now how do you like it? Wouldn't you rather I damned you?
Miss Tarleton,
Hypatia, Joey. Patsy, if you like.
look here. This is no good. You want to do what you like?
Don't you?
No. I've been too well brought up. Look, I've argued all through this thing, and I'll tell you, I'm not prepared to cast off the social bond. It's like a corset. It's a support to the figure, even if it does squeeze and deform you a bit. I want to be free.
Well, I'm tempting you to be free.
Not at all. Freedom, my good girl, means being able to count on our other people will behave. If every man who dislikes me is to throw a handful of mud in my face, and every woman who likes me is to behave like Potiphar's wife, then I shall be a slave. The slave of uncertainty, the slave of fear, the worst of all slaveries. I mean, how would you like it if every laborer you met in the road were to make love to you?
Oh.
No. Give me the blessed protection of a good, stiff conventionality among thoroughly well brought up ladies and gentlemen.
Another talker. Men like conventions because men made them. I didn't make them. I don't like them. I won't keep them. Now, what will you do?
Bolt.
I'll cut you.
Excellent. Bravo, bravo. Ah! Really, you retain a lot. This is great, y'all. Really, really wonderful. Just a couple of ideas. What I'm really loving is how specific it's becoming for both of you. And I really want you to lean in this week and think about how they change from who they are at the beginning of the scene to who they become at the end. Because I think also in some of these expressions of truth for Hypatia, I was going to say Michele, coming before my eyes, is that maybe this argument is almost helping her to refine what she believes. And it's the first time that's happened to her to say, what do you really want? This is what I want, and this is why.
Yes, I think she goes from a sort of a conventional flirt at first, and something much, much deeper is happening, where we're really talking about what should be the relations between men and women, what is being free. And this is really catnip to somebody with a good mind like hers.
Yeah. Yeah. Different way of thinking. I love it. I do love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Dylan, the same. The all this questioning about, it's all been up in your head. All three of the fathers that you have, it's all been about arguments. It's all up in your head, very British and mannered and all that kind of thing. That there's something stirring in him that he's never experienced before.
Yeah.
And it's a little like some of the things that Hypatia says earlier with Lord Summerhaze and everything, how she said, I expected to be married by 23 or by 20. That she understood what the role was supposed to be, but it is so unlike who she actually is. Yeah. So in a way, it kind of makes sense why she goes with Bentley, because he's so different, really, on some level. Because she doesn't expect marriage to be romantic or sexual or enjoyable for that matter. It's all very heady. So, yeah.
And he at least can give me that.
Yes.
He's got a sharp mind.
He's hot. And she's hot. So, bravo. So I would just lean more into that as you look on it. And to remember that they both deeply believe these things. So when they're questioned or challenged on it, what rattles them about it? Like, oh, I could see that. Okay, yeah, ooh, and it's a quick scene, really, relatively speaking. And when you're thinking about it, and it's very smart, and you move through it, it's wonderful. There really isn't a waste of words, even though these people speak like in long sentences and ideas. I would, and as you play, I'll be very interested to see what the AI does here, Nathan, when he describes this session. One more note before I forget. Dylan, when you say damn you to her, let that freak you out. Like, you just said damn you to a woman you don't even know.
Yeah.
Really. So let that really, however it manifests, freak you out, and you got to get the hell out of there. So, but what I would say is play with, when you want to get yelly, play with the musical tone. I had a vocal coach in England who said the main difference between an American accent and the English is that when we want to emphasize a word, we hit it percussively, right? In England, the dialect is more musical, so if you want to make the point, you raise the tone. And it will also lend itself to the erudite, maybe, sound of Shaw or whatever, although erudite, he's rolling in his grave right now, asking for a Guinness.
That's true. That's a really, really good point. I have to remember it myself because it is more about the range of expression rather than the force of expression.
You get percussive and loud.
Yeah.
And that can get to a point where if you're not really using the words at each other, it can become a screaming match, and that's not. Yeah.
Oh, one dialect note. Figure is figure.
Figure.
Right.
Instead of figure. Yes. All righty. Hello, Nathan. How are you? How are you?
Good.
Good.
Ready to play a little bit.
Oh, good. We'll give you a little
You
playtime.
only have 15 minutes, Nathan.
Uh-oh. Better play fast.
Time
Daddy-
flies.
I think Daddy needs it. I can just tell. So shall we just read until, well, let's read through it once because you need to get it out of your mouth anyway. And
Sure.
it might be just the perfect amount of time. But I will say I did look up how people address Bunny. Johnny's the only one who consistently calls you Bunny.
To my face or at all?
To your face.
Okay.
And I think he calls you a young lad at one point, but that's because Summer Hayes is standing there and, you know. Hypatia refers to you as Bentley and Bunny, but mostly Bentley. Your dad calls you Bentley, but at one point he scolds you and he calls you a baby.
Mm.
Joey only calls you Ben. The only one I've heard so far as I'm rereading all this. Tarleton, does a lot of old chap and say, he never really uses names except for the authors he recommends. And
Right.
Mrs. T, she infantilizes you like crazy without, I think, realizing it. She calls you child and dear boy.
Yeah.
She says to Johnny, you mustn't bully the little ones.
Hmm.
She's referring to Bentley. And she refers to him as our visitor too. So it's to me that was interesting. It caught my ear, like, So in her mind, he hasn't won yet. He hasn't won her over yet, really.
Right.
And she says at one point in her scene with Hypatia, he's overbred, like one of those expensive little dogs. Which I think is
Right.
fabulously insulting. But and she doesn't mean it to be. That's how she's describing you. And then one of the things that I said before is to go through and see what other people say about you. You have your own opinions too, which is always good to highlight for yourself. But see what other people's opinion when you're not in the room is, because
Right.
that'll often inform you what Shaw wants to see on some level. It's like I was saying, Jane Lapotaire was a teacher of mine in London, and she said if you're doing Shakespeare, while you can do a lot of historical research and that sort of thing, all you need is whatever Shakespeare's written down, because that's how he wants you to play it.
Sure.
She said historically, Cleopatra was a dog. The only things that, we have a picture of her is on a coin, not a pretty lady. But in the play, she was considered the most exotic, sexy, beautiful woman, and this amazing leader and all this kind of stuff. So, see what other people say about you.
Okay.
Let's read through it once to at least get it out of your mouths and refresh some ideas, and then.
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'll get out of here.
Hello. Where's your luggage?
I left it at the station. I've walked up from Hazelmere.
Oh. And who's to fetch it?
Don't know, don't care. Providence, probably. If not, your mother will have it fetched.
Not her business exactly, is it?
Of course not. That's why one loves her for doing it. Look here, chuck away your silly weekend novel and talk to a chap. After a week in that filthy office, my brain is simply blue mouldy. Let's argue about something intellectual.
No. Now, seriously, Bunny, I've come down here to have a pleasant weekend, and I'm not going to stand your confounded arguments. If you want to argue, go out of this and go over to the Congregationalist ministers. He's a nailer at arguing. He likes it.
You can't argue with a person when his livelihood depends on his not letting you convert him. And would you mind not calling me Bunny? My name is Bentley Summerhays, would you please?
What's the matter with Bunny?
It puts me in a false position. Have you ever considered the fact that I was an afterthought?
An afterthought? What do you mean by that? No, no, no. Stop. I don't want to know. It's only a dodge to start an argument.
Don't be afraid it won't overtax your brain. My father was 44 when I was born. My mother was 41. There was 12 years between me and the next eldest. I was unexpected. I was probably unintentional. My brothers and sisters are not the least like me. They're the regular thing you always get in the first batch from young parents. Quite pleasant, ordinary, do the regular thing sort. All body and no brains, like you.
Thank you.
Don't mention it, old chap. Now, I'm different. By the time I was born, the old couple knew something, so I came out all brains and no more body than is absolutely necessary. I am really a good deal older than you, though you were born 10 years sooner. Everybody feels that when they hear us talk. Consequently, though it's quite natural to hear me calling you Johnny, it sounds ridiculous and unbecoming for you to call me Bunny.
Does it? By George. You stop me doing it if you can. That's all.
If you go on doing it after I've asked you not, you'll feel an awful swine. At least, I should, but I suppose you're not so particular.
I'll tell you what it is, my boy. You want a good talking to, and I'm going to give it to you. If you think that because your father's a KCB, and you want to marry my sister, that you can make yourself as nasty as you please and say what you like, you're mistaken. Let me tell you that except Hypatia, not one person in this house is in favor of her marrying you. And I don't believe she's happy about it herself. The match isn't settled yet. Don't forget that. You're on trial in the office because the governor isn't giving his daughter money giving his daughter money for an idle man to live on her. You're on trial here because my mother thinks a girl should know what a man is like in the house before she marries him. That's been going on for 2 months now, and what's the result? You've got yourself thoroughly disliked in the office, and you're getting yourself thoroughly disliked here. All through your bad manners and your conceit, and the damned impudence you think clever.
That's enough. Thank you. You don't suppose, I hope, that I should have come down if I had known that that was how you all feel about me?
No, you don't run away. I am going to have this out with you. Sit down, you hear? Do you hear? That's the advantage of having more body than brains. You see? It enables me to teach you manners, and I'm going to do it too. You're a spoiled young pup, and you need a jolly good licking. And if you're not careful, you'll get it. I'll see to that next time you call me a swine.
Didn't call you a swine. But you are a swine. You're a beast. You're a brute. You're a cad. You're a liar. You're a bully. I should like to wring your damned neck for you.
My son. Fighting isn't in your line. You're too small, and you're too childish. I always suspected that your cleverness wouldn't come to very much when it was brought up against something solid. Some decent chap's fist, for instance.
I hope your beastly fist come up against a mad bull, or a prize fighter's nose, or something solider than me. I don't care about your fist, but if everybody here dislikes me, well, I don't care. I'm sorry I intruded. I didn't know. Oh, you beast, you pig! Swine, 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 swine! Now!
All right, my lad, all right. Sling your mud as hard as you please. It won't stick to me. What I want to know is this. How is it that your father, who I suppose is the strongest man England has produced in our time...
You got that out of your halfpenny paper. A lot you know about him.
I don't set up to be able to do anything but admire him and appreciate him and be proud of him as an Englishman. If it wasn't for my respect for him, I wouldn't have stood your cheek for 2 days, let alone 2 months. But what I can't understand is why he didn't lick it out of you when you were a kid. For 25 years, he kept a place twice as big as England in order. A place full of seditious coffee-colored heathens and pestilential white agitators in the middle of a lot of savage tribes. And yet he couldn't keep you in order. I don't set up to be half the man your father undoubtedly is, but, by George, it's lucky for you you were not my son. I don't hold with my father's views about corporal punishment being wrong. It's necessary for some people, and I'd have tried it on you until you first learned to howl and then to behave yourself.
Yes, behavior wouldn't come naturally to your son, would it?
Now you keep a civil tongue in your head. I'll stand none of your snobbery. I'm just as proud of Tartleton's underwear as you are of your father's title and his KCB and all the rest of it. My father began in a little hole in a shop, and a little hole of a shop in Leeds, no bigger than our pantry down the passage there. He would...
Oh, yes, I know, I've read it. The Romance of Business, or the Story of Tarleton's Underwear. Please take one. I took one the day after I first met Hypatia. I went and bought half a dozen unshrinkable vests for her sake.
Well, did they shrink?
Oh, don't be a fool.
Never mind whether I'm a fool or not. Did they shrink? That's the point. Were they worth the money?
I couldn't wear them. Do you think my skin's as thick as your customers' hides? I'd as soon have dressed myself in a nutmeg grater.
Pity your father didn't give your thin skin a jolly good lacing with a cane.
Pity you haven't got more than one idea. If you want to know, they did try that on me once when I was a small kid. A silly governess did it. I yelled for it to bring down the house, and went into convulsions and brain fever and that sort of thing for 3 weeks. So the old girl got the sack, and serve her right. After that, I was let do what I liked. My father didn't want me to grow up a broken-spirited spaniel, which is your idea of a man, I suppose.
Jolly good thing for you that my father made you come into the office and shew what you were made of. And it didn't come to much, let me tell you that. When the governor asked me where I thought we ought to put you, I said, make him the office boy. The governor said you were too green. And so you were.
I dare say. So would you be pretty green if you were shoved into my father's set? I picked up your silly business in a fortnight. You've been at it 10 years, and you haven't picked it up yet.
Don't talk rot, child. You simply make me pity you.
Romance of business, indeed. The real romance of Tarleton's business is the story that you understand anything about it. You never could explain any mortal thing about it to me when I asked you. See what was done the last time. That was the beginning and the end of your wisdom. You're nothing but a turnspit.
A what?
A turnspit. If your father hadn't made a roasting jack for you to turn, you'd be earning 24 shillings a week behind the counter.
If you don't take that back and apologize for your bad manners, I'll give you as good a hiding as ever you...
Help! Johnny's beating me! Oh, murder!
Oh, don't be a fool! Stop that noise, will you? I'm not going to touch you.
And the voice, Nathan. I loved it. I loved it. It was great. That was really great. And you guys have, I mean, it's gotten even deeper from just our first week of work. That's great.
I was laughing throughout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good, good.
It is delightful. It some things to play with. First of all, he mentions, because we were talking about, we never really find out how the coupling between Bentley and Hypatia happens.
Sure.
So by the sounds of it, in his little thing about, oh, I picked up that little pamphlet that when the first day I met Hypatia. So they met when, I guess, when they were in the store or in the office. Must have been the store, because he only got the office job when he decided to hook up with Hypatia.
Right.
And on that day, he bought 6 vests. Was it 6?
Yeah, so he I don't know, yeah, wandered into the store or something, wandered by it, I guess, or maybe he saw her, he probably met her somewhere else, and then knew she was Tarleton's daughter, so he went over to the store and all right, let me try to get, deeper into this. Let me try to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, because the wonderful and tricky thing about Bunny is he's terribly insecure. I think
Yeah.
he's like a overbred puppy. I mean,
Right.
but I think he genuinely can get hurt.
Oh,
And
sure. Yeah.
and I was already seeing that, which is fantastic. The challenge of this first scene is you guys sort of set the tone for the play.
Right.
And well, I'd have to talk to my costume designer if I ever did this. A lot of times people, because it's the summertime, they're all wearing summer clothes in pastels. So we need to, I think, almost, and I think that's why Shaw starts it off with an irritation, like, where's your luggage? That the tone of the two men are very different.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so really we need to sort of heighten the differences between the two of them and how they handle it. Who's got the thinner skin? Who's the one who can cover? I mean, Bunny's pretty much got his own thin skin, but Johnny is pretty quick to start getting aggressive and angry. So they know how to press each other's buttons. So
And yeah, it's kind of related to this. Just a technical thing. Do you want like it's this kind of this is a question of how fast the characters think, because there are some lines that we respond to that are so quick.
Yeah.
Like the last so like the last thing somebody said, and we come, our next line responds to it. So just technically, do you want us to try to just pull the air out of that between the lines, and just if we're going to take a pause or take more time? Is that question clear?
yeah, and I think for like as we work on the next one, we can pull it apart a bit and
Sure.
play with that and really make the points with the arguments. And it's director once gave us all a note that said, never mistake speed for energy. So I would encourage the idea of, like good old Dame Edith Evans said, pull the period towards you. So you're driving your point through to the end of your sentence.
Right.
And I think you can speed up as you begin to understand better how these guys function in terms of, like, Bunny is awfully passive aggressive and he throws these things. Well, of course you wouldn't understand. You're a rube, but
Right.
those needling things, and Johnny just that flat out insults him. It's
We might have, Nathan, a built-in technological challenge with that, because I think there's a little bit of a delay when we try to pick up our cues.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No. I that I hear. I think it's just I think it's just having that conversation about like how quick, like that these characters may respond a lot faster than like just we do. Just regular humans do. They process it, I think, faster. But I totally hear what you're saying, Paul.
It's
Yeah.
the whole thinking on the line. And
Right.
I
Right.
say
Right.
yes, Paul, it's true. I've noticed it for some reason today. I noticed it a little bit more. Because I was just curious. Just FYI. So a Congregationalist minister. Congregational churches believe that God is the only true head of the church. Members or congregants, hence the name, are free to interpret the Bible as on their own without priests or ministers around, matters of belief and understanding of the divine. So they really are, they're great arguers because I guess to keep their faith active, they're really great at arguing their interpretation of the Bible. Just FYI. When he says, go have a good conversation with him.
We do probably need to wrap up here.
Yes,
We could probably go like a third hour, but
Oh, we totally could. We totally could. So I would, again, same sort of thing that I was saying to them. Well, because I don't think a lot of change happens from the beginning to the end. They do learn new things. How does that affect them? Like Bunny doesn't know that people really think this way about him.
Right. And
And
I don't know that he's really exploded on Johnny this way. You know, like that. I think he's managed to keep his cool or retain any social graces or whatever, a social airs that he has. So
yeah, I agree. And what has happened between the two of them in these last 2 months that Johnny has built up this head of steam and he's just ready.
yeah.
Unless Johnny's just that hot-headed. But
Well, that's a question for you. Do you think he is?
I'd have to think about that. Because, you know, just being hot-headed for the sake of being hot-headed isn't really as interesting, I guess. I don't know. But he's got a temper with everybody. So, I don't know. I shall muse and sleep on that and all this kind of stuff.
And Erika, is it Tarleton? Is it like the E is silent, just Tarleton? Okay.
Yeah, I call it, yeah, that's all I've ever, yeah, Tarleton, yeah.
Tarleton. Okay.
Yeah, and it's fun
I
to
just
do
wanted
with
to make sure, Paul, that you and I were saying it the same way.
Carlton?
Tarleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tarleton.
The E is kind of silent.
Which is really fun to do with the Polish accent, you know, Tarleton. So excellent work. I'm sorry we didn't have more time with you, Nathan, but next week we'll start with you guys. And let's get down to the crux of the arguments and that kind of a thing, and then we'll worry about speed and sound.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because that'll come. And because like I was saying to them, as we worked on their scene, it went faster, and there really wasn't a wasted idea.
Cool.
Shaw really didn't waste any words, and you guys got a lot of words, so just, you know, take your time this week to just sort of think through that and where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Awesome.
bravo, everybody.
Yeah.
What a great session. Really well done. Hey.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, we'll see everybody next week. Thanks again for coming in. And yeah, I really enjoyed the part I saw of the first of the other scene. We'll go back and listen and watch and all that. But yeah, no, everything seems to be coming along nicely. So great work, everybody.
Happy.
Lots of
Have a
fun.
great week, y'all. Nice to meet you.
Right. Yeah.
See
Hi,
ya.
guys.
Nice to meet you,
Dylan.
Dylan.
Good job, everybody.
Yep. Good night.